This is the Shawnee legend of the Grasshopper Wars. Pachoquealan was a sizable Algonquin village located on a peninsula north of where Gallows Run empties into the Delaware River, not far from Kintnersville, Pennsylvania. The Shawnees, under their chief Kakawachi, moved here in 1698. The town was mostly in Durham Township, but spread into adjoining Nakamixon. It was opposite Pachoquealan that the Lenape and Shawnees fought the Great Battle of the so-called Grasshopper War. Presumably, the fight happened about 1730. There are several versions of that incident. Long, long ago, in the Pine Barrens of Lenapehoking, where modern-day Flemington, New Jersey, now stands, there was a Lenape village. This was before the Wapsitic, the White Ones, came to our shores. Across the river, in what is now Pennsylvania, another village stood. Some say it was another tribe, some say it was another village of Lenape. Either way, the people of the villages liked to visit back and forth whenever they could. The men of the villages would hunt together, the women of the villages would work together, and the children of the villages would play together. One day, as the children were playing together, a boy from the village across the river saw a streak of green in the grass and, following it, soon caught the largest grasshopper he had ever seen. He laughed happily as he played with his new pet, and soon a group of the other children gathered around him. He showed them all the grasshopper and how agile it was. They all agreed that it was the largest grasshopper they had ever seen. But one of the boys from the first village grew envious, and he began to scowl and fret. Why shouldn't he have that large grasshopper? After all, was it not found on his village territory? Hastily, he snatched the grasshopper from the other boy, and this set off a fight. Then, like a chain reaction, a free-for-all began between the children of the two villages. Soon all of the children were involved in the fray. The battle quickly polarized between the villages, each child siding with his village brothers and sisters. Hearing the screams of the battling children, the village women rushed from the fields and lodges where they were working. Seeing their children attacking one another, they too joined the battle and began defending their children. Soon they too were pummeling one another and pulling hair. When the men returned from the day's hunt, they found their women and children huddled all around, injured, bleeding, and worn out from the prolonged fight. None of them could recall any longer why the fight had taken place, and could only tell of being attacked by the members of the other village. Anger then grew between the men too, and they took their women and children to their respective villages. The village chiefs swore vengeance on the opposing village, and the friendly exchanges between the villages ceased. It was many seasons later that the truth was discovered. What had begun as child's play and a jealous argument grew into an unnecessary fight and long seasons of discontent between the two villages. Friendships were lost and much unfounded anger was exchanged. And this fight is remembered in our histories as the Grasshopper War. Another version of the Grasshopper Wars was once told by the Shawnee in Delaware and Pennsylvania, of how the Shawnee and Delaware were once one people. Deep in the Pennsylvania wilderness, before any white man ever set foot on the land, were two villages. The inhabitants of each village liked to visit one another. The men would hunt together and the women would share their work. Each village enjoyed the company of the other. One day, while a boy was visiting, he found a grasshopper near a river. He played with his little friend until a group of children came upon them. He showed the grasshopper to his friends, and they were all happy playing with the insect together. But one of the boys wasn't happy with the visiting boy's discovery. He thought to himself, "Shouldn't the grasshopper be mine instead of his? This is my village after all." So the upset boy snatched the grasshopper from the visiting boy and ran away with the insect. The children and the boy gave chase. They soon caught up to the thief, and the children began to fight, each siding with the boy of their own village. Now the women heard the fight and came out to see what the argument was about. Seeing the blood and bruises of their children, they joined in the fight to defend their child and village. The screams grew in the air. Later that day, the men had returned from hunting when they found the females of their family and their children huddled on the ground, injured and bloody. The chiefs of both villages wanted vengeance. They declared war upon each other, and the men joined their wives and children in battle. After the battle was over, everyone was repulsed by what they had done. A simple argument between boys had led to a battle between friends. Guilt filled their hearts. They decided in order to keep the peace, it was best if the two villages went their separate ways. Thus began the Shawnee and Delaware,